Welcome back to the Deeper Yes. I feel like I want to speak today to the mamas. I know not everybody listening maybe is mamas, although maybe you're mamas or maybe you're GGs, but I just felt compelled to really speak directly to the mamas, especially of littles, but even as our littles grow up. So maybe I just want to talk to the mamas in all the different stages that we walk through. So I hope this lands with you. So first I'm going to just speak to the mamas that are probably in their late 20s, early to mid 30s. Your littles are still kind of little. They're either babies, toddlers, elementary school, something like that maybe. And I just want to speak to you, wishing that someone had spoke to me when I was in the throes of that, because we are so busy in that season of life. And we are just pouring into everybody, quite honestly, except for ourselves. And not meaning that in a way, please don't hear me say this, that you're not enjoying those moments and those times and being present. But we do it to such a fault, I think. So maybe I'm speaking to myself as women, that we forget to take care of ourselves. So we're busy changing diapers, getting up in the middle of the night, feeding bottles, getting them off to school or preschool, or maybe you're a stay-at-home mom like I was and you're getting them off to activities. I'm aging myself, but way back when we had gymboree for our kids. So it might be some kind of activity like that where they're tumbling, or maybe to the library for a story time, or that maybe there's somewhere you take them for craft time, preschool, all the things. And then they get a little bit older and then we're taking them to their activities. For me, my kids were doing soccer at the time. So it could be soccer or something like that. It could be arts and craft type thing. It could be music, singing, dancing. There's just so many things, right, that kids can be involved in. And we want our kids to have those experiences. So we're running all around getting them to those experiences. And then we make friends with the parents of the kids that our kids are making friends with. And so then we're hosting play dates because we want to have some adult contact, but we also want our kids to have someone to play with and imagine with, and just learn social skills, right? So now we're hosting play dates, and then they get a little bit older and they're in elementary school. And again, if you're like me, now you're suddenly volunteering at this school because you want to be involved, and you think, oh, I've got all this free time that just opened up for me. But I don't know. I look back at that time, you guys, and I remember all the freedom I thought I was going to have. I felt more busy. And again, it all brought me joy, but I was doing so much of it that I kept forgetting to take care of me. I also was involved in my church. My faith is super important to me. Hopefully you're catching that at this point on episode, whatever this is, 6, 7, something like that. My faith is super important to me, so I was very involved in my church and in our women's Bible study, and then I started facilitating that, and then I had a prayer group that met at my house once a week to pray over our children and our schools. And then obviously our church would do all sorts of ministries and missions and VBS. And so there was always something that I could be involved in and volunteer in. And so why am I saying all this? Because I want you to know I see you. I see you. And I know what it's like to walk through that season of life where you have so much joy, but there's also so much exhaustion. And we start to realize or think in those moments our identity is all in that, in our husbands, in our families, in our children, in our extended family, in the people that we're serving and loving on and volunteering for. And all of a sudden, guess what happens to those kiddos? Now they get in high school and there's all different types of running around and getting them to their activities and supporting them in their activities and different volunteering. And maybe now even you think, oh, I want to bring in a little income, and you start working a job. Or maybe, I'm talking about this from my perspective. I was a stay-at-home mom, but maybe you also, on top of all of this, work outside of the home So your busy and your tired looks very different than mine did in that season of life. And now you're wearing multiple hats in addition to all the multiple hats that you wear at home, being a parent and a mom and raising little humans into healthy, functioning adult humans. And so now we've moved into high school, maybe college, and all of a sudden what starts to happen and what I walk through is we start to think our role is changing. My kids are growing into healthy, functioning young adults. They're about to take off. They're about to fly. Maybe they're going to a trade school. Maybe they're going right into some full-time job. Maybe they're going away to school. Maybe they're taking a gap year. Maybe they're going to travel Europe. Whatever it is, maybe they have the love of their life early that they were dating all through school, and maybe they're getting married younger than I did. I don't know what that looks like, but what happens is our roles start to shift and change. And we start to wonder, what is my job? What is my purpose? What's my identity? Because we've caused and allowed ourselves to find our identity in our family and in our children and the things that we were doing. But I'm here to say to you, I don't think and I don't believe, and quite frankly, I know that isn't where our identity comes from. Our identity comes from God who created you, God who loved you so much, God who has a purpose for you, God who refuses to leave you the way you are because he has something so amazing and wonderful planned for you that he refuses to leave you where you're at. He's going to grow you and he's going to stretch you. And so as you move into this season of life, mamas, so mama's a little bit older. I don't know what that looks like for you in your 40s, maybe your 50s. I don't know. As things start to change and we start to say, now who am I, right? And I want to say, you are fearfully and wonderfully made in the Lord's image. That's who you are. And he has an amazing purpose for you. And you may not know what it is right now. You may be grieving, because I certainly went through grieving because my role changed. And I felt like I did what I was supposed to do. And my kids are healthy, functioning adults, and they're flying and they're becoming independent. And they found the loves of their lives and they got married. And I did all the things I know that God was calling me to do for them. And I was celebrating that and I loved it. But it sort of was a little bit bittersweet because I loved and love being around my children. I love it. Like I cherished it. I treasured it, even in the exhaustion. Like I looked forward to it. I was the mama that didn't want summer to end and them to go back to school because I just love that we had the flexibility to do whatever we wanted day in and day out and spend time together and create memories together and have friends over and laugh and giggle and be silly and have no plans and no structure. So as happy as I was that they were flying and I did what I was supposed to do, I also was like, in the back of my mind, I'm winking at you. Don't leave me. Don't leave me. And I'm here to tell you, mamas, even as you transition in those roles and your identity is what most of us would call our identity, and our purpose and our plan and our passion, and you find the new things that light your fire, it just keeps getting better. If you allow yourself the moments to just step into it, or maybe just sit in it and rest in it, you will get clarity and you will find your passion again and you will find what you're supposed to do again. And maybe it's just being present in the lives of your grown children and hopefully, potentially, grandchildren, or maybe it's just nieces and nephews. You know, I don't know what that looks like for you, but you will find your lane again and you will have your joy restored and your passion ignited, and it will become clear what your purpose is. For me, my purpose has not been necessarily to be out in the work field, out building a career. That's not where I necessarily found my significance. And there's nothing wrong with that. Again, please don't hear me say something I'm not saying. I'm just saying, for me personally, that isn't where I found my significance. I found it in people and relationships and pouring into people and loving on them and listening to them and asking their stories and serving them when I could serve them, helping light my fire. And so I'm in this new season of life of not only being a mom and a wife, but being a Gigi, and being a friend to so many friends I have around the country because of all the work and building I did in network marketing. I get to be present in people's lives. I just got to have lunch again with a friend that I haven't seen in months and months and months and months. And we just picked up where we left off. And last week, while I was watching my grandsons for whatever it was, 5 or 6 days, they were in daycare during the day, which I never had that before with my kids. So I took that opportunity each day to meet with friends I hadn't seen in a while and to be able to be present with them and in their lives and catching up and reconnecting and loving on them the way I always wanted to. And maybe I let that ball drop. And so how beautiful to have that opportunity to do that. So I guess what I really wanted to do today was I just wanted you to know I see you. Whatever stage you're in as a mama, if that's the littles, if that's elementary school, if that's middle school, if that's high school, if that's college, if that's they're done with college and they're starting a job and a career, if that's they got married and they are leaving and cleaving, if that's they've started their own families, whatever that looks like for you in whatever season of life you're in, I want you to know I see you. I've walked a very similar path and journey with you. You're not alone. You are not alone. And God has incredible things planned for you, more than you can even imagine. And so I guess what I really want to do is just encourage you. Be present. Give yourself time to rest. Take in all the moments and enjoy them. Even in the tiredness, even in the hurry of the world. Work really hard not to rush. I meant to talk about this. I think this social media world that we live in, as good as it is, there's so much good, you guys, in it. There's also not so much good. I think about those young mamas, and you guys have this social media like I didn't have before. And as good as it can be, I think it's also not so good because I think it creates pressure that doesn't need to be there. I think it creates comparison that doesn't need to be there, that breeds discontentment. I think it makes us feel like we're falling short because all of a sudden we have all these influencers. I never had to deal with that, you guys. And we think that we have to be them, and we think we have to live like them, and we think we have to perform like them, and we think our homes need to look like them, and our children need to be dressed like them, and we need to be dressed like them, and we need to look like we've got it all together. That's perfection, and we've talked about this. We're never going to achieve perfection on this side of heaven. It's not going to happen. But you are a work in progress, and a beautiful work in progress. And I am so proud of everything you have done and are doing and continue to do. And I love that through this podcast, The Deeper Yes, we are going to be able to encourage one another to take care of us. Because if you don't become the best version of you, you're no good for anybody else. And I'm speaking from personal experience in illness and health because I let myself fall so far back on the back burner doing the things I loved for everybody else that I got sick and I was no good to myself and no good to anybody else. So just as a reminder, most of us probably have traveled by airplane. And remember, every single time we do that, what do the flight attendants remind us to do? If the oxygen mask drops, put yours on first before anyone next to you or your children. Because if we don't take care of us, we're no good to all those other people that we love and cherish and care about and adore and treasure. We're no good to them. So again, I want to encourage you. I see you. I was you. I am you. I'm walking this journey with you. I love you. I care about you. I pray for you. I pray this reaches exactly the woman or women it needs to reach. I pray it touched you today, mamas. And I pray that you not only subscribe, but you leave a comment or a like, and you share it with as many women as you possibly can. So together we can lock arms and be iron sharpening iron and be a source of encouragement and support to one another. So I hope you have a beautiful day, and I hope you think about how you can take some time for you over this weekend, and we'll be together next week again. I am working on finding some people that I can interview because I really want this to be about how we can unpack other people's and other women's stories, so that can be a source of encouragement and support for you. So thanks again for coming to the Deeper Yes. Have a beautiful weekend, and know I'm always praying for you.